What is up, YouTube? It's Rick Grimes for President here, and I'm finally bringing you this video, and my giveaway video will be right after this. I'm finally bringing this to you guys. I was sick, really sick. I had mono on Saturday, Sunday, like the whole past weekend, all the way through like Tuesday. I was feeling like crap. Wednesday and Thursday, I had to catch up on a lot of stuff. So I'm finally bringing you guys this video today, and like I said, I apologize right now for delaying it so much. But I'm here now. As you guys can probably tell, I'm using a different camera. It's probably moving around all over the place. I'm using my sweet mate Chris's flip video camera because I had some complaints on my last video and previous videos that the audio, when I'm using my laptop camera, the webcam on it, the audio's got like, I don't know, it's like scratchy or like, I don't know, it's weird at some point in time. So I'm just going to use a flip from now on. So I hope I'm not like being too shaky or weird. But let's go ahead and get started. I know it's been a while for me, and I was sick while I was watching it. So if this isn't the best review, I apologize. But Sunday night's episode of The Walking Dead, it was an awesome episode. I thought it was a whole lot better than the first episode. It was a slow pace turned fast pace, turned plot twist, turned character introductions, and then ending. So it had all in one in it. As you know, the last episode really focused on Rick, Carl, and Michonne, and this episode kind of focuses on the rest of the survivors. And we find out who's still alive, who died, and so on and so on. So it starts right off showing where Daryl and Beth are at this point in time. And so they got split off together, and they're kind of, just chilling out in the woods, trying to survive. And we get a nice little monologue of Beth where she has written some letters. I'm not sure who exactly she's writing these letters to. I was thinking on this. I'm not sure if she's writing them to her sister who died back on the farm, or her mom, who we haven't really heard of and who died, quite a while ago. So I'm guessing she's writing these letters to her mom because her dead mom. She's saying, we found a prison. We're gonna live here. We're gonna stay here forever. And it's showing how much hope that she had for that prison, and how much hope that she had that everything was going to be okay at that prison. And then everything got destroyed. Everything didn't go the way she planned. They didn't stay there for a long time. They didn't survive. Nothing happened according to plan. And Daryl now, he's just kind of chilling out and doing his own thing. He's the same way. He's broken. He had a sense of family at this prison. He had a role in the prison. He was starting to liven up to everyone. The first and second seasons he was kind of building up and on his own and whatnot. And then the third season, the whole prison storyline, he started taking place and having a place and having a family with everyone. And now, and at the beginning of the fourth season, and then during that mid-season finale when everyone got split up, he's lost all of that. He's lost his brother, he's lost, all of his friends, and it's just him and Beth. And, he's kind of snarky a little bit to Beth. He tells Beth, you shouldn't have faith. Faith didn't really work well for your father, which was kind of a snarky comment, a rude comment. But, everyone's... At this point in time, everyone's just kind of out of it and doesn't really know what to do. They don't know who's alive. They don't know who's out there. They're just trying to get through the day without, harming themselves, because they're all driven to the point where they just they're not even sure if they want to be in this world anymore. And so there's some really cool scenes of, Daryl and Beth tracking people, and, they find some old berries, and they find some dead rabbits, and footprints, and a shoe, a boot. And we find out pretty soon that this was Tyrese's group. and Tyrese is with Lizzie and Mika, the girls, and so we find out that those kids that they were with, at the mid-season finale were killed off screen, whatever. We didn't even know them. And we found out that baby Judith is still alive. Some of you guys might have speculated that she may have been dead with the bloody, baby basket or whatever, but I knew she was alive. I was almost positive she was alive. So we found out she's alive. Tyrese is kind of dealing with daddy daycare. He's dealing with two, whatever-year-old kids and then a baby by himself. Like, Tyrese isn't the guy to kind of handle this, along with his emotional problems that he has already. So it's really cool to see Tyrese, stepping up and taking, having to handle this, because he knows that he has to do this in order, to let everyone survive. He doesn't want to be selfish. So it's kind of like a backtrack thing where we find out, we see Tyrese and Lizzie and Mika and everyone killing that rabbit and eating those grapes, and it's showing what exactly Daryl and Beth were tracking, which is, I thought that was a really cool way to do that. And so pretty soon Tyrese hears some screams, and so he goes to check it out, and when he goes to check it out, he leaves Lizzie, Mika, and Judith all alone, in the middle of the woods, after he has this big spiel about telling Mika, if you ever see walkers, you just need to run, don't be scared, yada yada yada. And then he hears the screams and he lines them up back to back, gives Judith to Lizzie, and then runs away to go find out what's going on. And I feel like he should have just brought them with him. I don't know why he just kind of left them and went off. Yeah, they both had guns, they both had knives, they both know how to kill, I guess, but I'm not 100% sure if that was a good decision. And so anyways, we go out to find out that Tyrese goes, the screams were coming from a couple of survivors. It looked like a dad and his kid were fighting off some walkers on some railroad tracks, and Tyrese, puts the hammer down like he does best and slays out some walkers, but the younger boy dies and the man ends up getting bit. So it doesn't end up turning out well for them. But at the end, out of nowhere, walks out a character that we haven't seen in a very, very long time. Carol's back too. So we get Judith is alive, Carol is alive, and she's back. She found Tyrese. We still don't know where she was. We don't know whether she was with this group of, guys, or whether she was just around the area. Well, I mean, we do kind of know where she was, because she does explain that she watched the end of the prison attack, and she saw Tyrese and them run off to the woods, so she went. So she was in the area, but we don't know, when she left Rick for those five or so episodes, or 3 or whatever it was, where exactly she went in her car. So we might find that out later. But the man, right before he dies, he got bit in the shoulder or whatever. Right before he dies, he tells Carol and Tyrese to follow the train tracks, that there's a place where they can stay. So this is a huge introduction of a place, because they just got out of the prison, a place they thought they could stay, and now this guy's telling them that there's another place already ahead of them that they can stay and they can be safe at. So during this whole, killing of the walkers, reintroduction, everything like that, Judith, back with Mika and Lizzie, is up there crying. And so while she's crying, she's alerting more walkers, yada yada yada. She's obviously getting on Lizzie's nerves, and I can understand. Yeah, the baby's crying, the baby's getting on your nerves. You want it to shut up, you don't want it to be loud. But what Lizzie does is crazy, because Lizzie puts her hand over Judith's mouth and tries to basically asphyxiate and suffocate Judith and stop her from breathing. And so this is when Carol comes into place, because Carol finds them and then brings out the baby and Lizzie and Mika. So it's just hard to remember all this stuff, the order it happens and how it happens. But so if it wasn't for Carol, I think Lizzie probably would have killed Judith. Like, Lizzie's a crazy, psychotic little girl, and there's a storyline in the comics that there's a couple characters in the comics that kind of remind me of Lizzie and Mika. So I'm not going to spoil that. I can talk about that in CBTV. But look forward to that. Lizzie's crazy. And after that, we also find out where Maggie, Sasha, and Bob Stuckey are. They're off on some rocks. I think they went another direction. I don't know what all directions they went. But anyways, they're all together. Sasha's patching up Bob from where he got shot in the shoulder or something like that during the prison fight. And Maggie's just kind of over there on her own, and she's just thinking. All she's thinking about, I'm sure she's thinking about her father and Beth, but she's thinking about, I want to find Glenn. I need Glenn. So she tells Sasha and Bob, which Sasha and Bob are kind of like, I'm not sure if anybody else is alive, but Maggie's like, Glenn's alive, 100%. He's alive. We're going to find him. Whether you guys like it or not, I'm going to go find him. So eventually Bob and Sasha agree to go try to find the bus that finds Glenn, and because Maggie knows which direction Glenn went in, or the bus went in, apparently. We find out that he wasn't on the bus later. So they go and they end up finding this bus. There's a bunch of walkers in the bus, so Maggie's freaking out thinking Glenn's in there. So, they go and they let walkers off the bus one at a time, and then they end up flooding out, so they have to kill them all. And none of them ends up being Glenn, so Maggie's happy and sad at the same time. Sad because Glenn wasn't on there, and happy because Glenn wasn't one of the walkers. So then we see a flashback to where Glenn is. And Glenn never left the prison. This was a huge shock to me too. I thought he was on the bus. I thought he went on the bus and, the bus wrecked and whatnot. But Glenn never left the prison. He got off the bus at the last second to see if he could go find Maggie. And he ended up getting knocked or passed. I guess he was still sick, so he passed out. And we end up seeing him laying there with walkers like right underneath him. And he's been passed out. So Michonne was in that area like not too long ago. Like, she could have found Glenn, but he was still passed out. And I think they said on Talking Dead this had all been like an hour or two or 3 hours after the attack. So Glenn hadn't been passed out for days or whatever. So we found out Glenn's passed out, but he ends up, regaining his senses, realizing what's happened, realizing what went on. And so he ends up, let's see, I'm trying to think when he finds out. Okay. So he ends up going back inside the prison and collecting some stuff. He goes into his prison cell and kind of lays down and thinks over everything for a minute and sees a picture of Maggie, and that kind of like boost him into gear. So he gets this riot gear that he's hidden underneath his bed, and also finds a bottle of alcohol, which I'm guessing Bob Stuckey left. So Bob Stuckey's alcohol, actually helped. He ends up making a Molotov out of that later. And once he leaves the prison, he's ready to go. He's ready to charge through everybody. And then he sees Tara. Pretty sure that's her name. Tara. Yeah, Tara and Lily was the sisters. But he sees Tara, which was Lily's sister. We saw him in the previous half of the season. It was the lesbian sister. And so we see her. She's kind of sitting in this caged area, just like by herself, looking down. Because a lot of this was like not really her fault, but like she was part of it. She was for the governor. She was for the plan. She believed the governor. She believed all these people were bad, and she was wrong. And now she feels bad because of this. And so Glenn finds her, and he goes and talks to her, and they finally end up exchanging words. And she says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do this. And Glenn's like, yeah, it's okay. We need to go find Maggie. Let's go. And then she ends up telling Glenn for the first time, and Glenn finds out about Herschel. Glenn had no idea about Herschel dying because he was too busy with everything else. So he had no idea about Herschel dying, and he finds out about Herschel, and it devastates him. His face when he finds out about it is just you know, he's devastated. But he knows he needs to find Maggie. He knows after he hears that he needs to find Maggie. So that's what he plans on doing. Him and Tara get together and they leave the prison and they go to find Maggie. And as they're doing that, they run into some trouble on the road. And Glenn ends up passing out because he's still sick. He's still, you know, not feeling well. So Glenn ends up passing out, and Tara's fighting off a ton of walkers. You know, she's going at it. And then as the camera zooms out, we see a big truck has pulled up beside them during this fight. And out of the truck come 3 characters that you guys might not know. I know, but they're going to be introduced, and their names are Rosita, Abraham, and Eugene. And Abraham is one of my favorite characters ever. Abraham Ford. He's one of my favorite characters ever in the comics. And you guys will see why. He's like a retired Army sergeant, and he's really, really, really bad A. You guys are going to enjoy him. I'm not going to give too much detail on who he is because I think this next episode is going to revolve, you know, mainly around him and whatnot. But so it was an awesome episode. Like I said, the introduction of some characters, the reintroduction of some characters, and the realization that some characters are still alive and some characters are dead. You know, minor characters, off-screen deaths, yada yada yada. But overall, it was a really good episode, and I apologize if this video has run too long, and I apologize that it's late. But if you're watching this, my next video is going to be my giveaway video, which I know all of you guys are really, really, really looking forward to. So watch that one.